there's a great dissatisfaction here in Iraq with the current government. And I ran into a universal sense of a commitment, a desire by Iraqis to make up for the mistakes that have been made in the past. Now, what that means in terms of personalities or individuals who might fill one role or another, I can't tell you. That's up to Iraqis.
Iraq needs that new government. Boy, I'll tell you, that's something we've been talking about for weeks. Military veterans, when their tour is over in Iraq or wherever else, finding a good, well-paying job. Add to that the more pressing issue of hoping they receive the medical care they have earned. Let us welcome into Midpoint a soldier who can speak to both. He was active duty Marines in the early 2000s, a Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal winner for his work with wounded warriors, and along with his four-legged partner Rex, won a Navy Achievement Medal for their work in Operation Iraqi Freedom. It is a pleasure to bring in Mike Dowling into Midpoint today. Mike, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Mike, we're going to talk about a little bit about the VA and what is happening, and I want to get your opinion on Iraq as well, because everything that's happening there, seeing as you had served in that theater before. But this is interesting because I know that you've got your own page on IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database. You've done some commercials. But it's interesting because there's so much military going on in Hollywood right now, so many different movies, commercials, films, television, that actually if you're a vet, you can go over and at least get a job telling people what the reality is like, correct?
Well, I don't know if it's that simple, but
it never is that simple in Hollywood, Mike. We know that.
Yeah, but they are. I think it is safe to say that Hollywood is becoming more and more veteran friendly right now. And what I mean by that is there's lots of studios, agencies, and production companies that are actively seeking to train and hire veterans to be part of their productions and help make their productions more realistic. That have military themes to them. Because as we all know, Hollywood doesn't get it right when it comes to the military films and the military genre. It's very entertaining and it draws a good audience, but there's a lot of inaccurate depictions about the veteran culture and military experience.
Let's talk about that. Wait a minute there. The things that they get wrong about the veteran culture and that military experience. What is it? The one or two things that really strike you that they always get wrong?
Well, when you're in combat, there's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of boring, but great bonding moments between between the soldiers and the Marines and all the combat troops. Hollywood likes to focus on the 0.5%, the 1% of the time where there's real action going on and very specific moments, and that's okay because when movies are only an hour and a half long, so you can only share so much within that time frame. But also, the lingo and just the uniforms, there's a lot of minor things, but there's some bigger ones. For example, just the whole real experience of what it's like. But, when you look at Hollywood, they're there to entertain. And really, it's the documentaries that tell the stories, in my opinion, that are a lot more realistic than the actual movies are.
Let us talk realism here for a moment. As someone who was involved in Operation Iraqi Freedom, you've seen the news, you watch with the rest of us what's happening in Iraq right now, the complete degradation of what supposedly was built there and the country now under siege one more time. You look and see a lot of towns that you might have been in and you might know that are now in the hands of the enemy. How does that hit you when you see that?
It's incredibly unfortunate and discouraging. But, I look at my service as being, I followed my orders. I did what I was told to do, and I felt it was an honorable thing of what we were doing. And we were all out there during a time that was, it was very tough on everyone. And we did the best that we could, and we felt like we left it in a good place. I really feel that right now it's really up to the Iraqis. I don't know how much more the U.S. or anybody, for that matter, can do. I think it's up to the Iraqis to take a stand now. We trained them. We left them with, all the tools that they needed, and I just really feel like it's up to them.
Mike, was your service wasted?
Not at all. I was out there to serve and my brothers and sisters out there to the best of my ability, and I felt that I could do that.
Even though much of the land that you had protected and defended is now gone?
It's really tough. I try not to dwell on that too much. I really, as a service member, I'm there for my fellow service members, and that's really what I want to think about and what I dwell on. And now that we did our time and that we're home, I just want to move on with my life and be successful and And I wish the same for my fellow vets.
Mike, have you had much experience with the Veterans Administration when you returned and certainly in the subsequent years?
I have. I actually am an active patient of the VA. My experience has been pretty good, actually. I certainly have seen other veterans that have not had a good experience, but I would encourage them to keep trying. You know, by the way, as an actor, it's been great to be on camera, but behind the scenes, I do a lot of production work, and I've been proud to say that I've been part of the production teams for the Veterans Affairs Make the Connection and Veterans Crisis Line campaigns, and those encourage veterans to reach out and get mental health. You can see their videos on their websites. But I would say the VA has a lot to offer. You have to be very, very patient. And I would encourage veterans to have that patience when they're dealing with them.
You talked about some of the mental health, and this certainly was something, this shocked me when I saw this story that came out this week. A VA mental health care facility in Massachusetts, a veteran admitted there waited 8 years for his first comprehensive psychiatric evaluation by the staff. As a veteran and telling your fellow veterans to have patience, isn't that an awfully difficult thing to say to them when, even if they have patience, you got a guy waiting 8 years?
Yeah, that's certainly a long time to be patient. I feel that it just, every time I see those headlines, it just hits me right in the gut, because I'm so, I want to be able to take care of them personally. You know, I want to reach out to them and call them and say, hey, it's okay. If you can't get help at the VA, you can call your fellow vet. Give me a call. Give someone else a call. Maybe we can try and help you out. You know, a lot of veterans, we got to remember, there's a lot of services out there in other than the VA that they can reach out to. There's a lot of nonprofit organizations and a lot of alternative places that they can go to for free that they can reach out to as well. So yeah, it's really shocking and discouraging when you see those headlines. You know, I just wish that they can also reach out to the veteran community who can point them in the right direction of alternative places that they can go to.
Let us hope that maybe just the words that you have said will tell people and tell your fellow veterans out there to simply try to have that patience and try to hang in there, because they certainly, and you as well, all of you deserve our respect, our thanks, and you deserve that kind of attention from us and that kind of help. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. Let's please do it again sometime, and good luck on your next casting call.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
All right, Mike, take care. Mike Dowling joining us here on Midpoint. Patience. Wow, that's a tough thing to say. I hope that people can use that and make it work for them. All right, coming up next hour, the latest Iraqi war and how it will in no uncertain terms affect your wallet. Didn't you know you'd hear this sooner or later? Well, we're starting to hear it again now. Energy dependence comes up as one of the subjects. That and a whole lot more as we continue here on Midpoint, where every day we question everything.